Hello, everybody. Sorry about the cough. This is Kyrix with another episode of This Week in Kyrix. Today is Wednesday, February 6th of 2019, and this is the first This Week in Kyrix that happens after my job, my real job, has begun. And it's been a hell of a thing, not gonna lie. Oh my. That is quite a bit ugly. But my main fear had been put to rest, that being that I wouldn't be able to handle the job, because as it turns out, I can. I really can. It's I'm not perfect, believe me. There are some issues, speed issues mostly, with aisles, but I'll get into that in a minute. I don't think I'm necessarily at risk of being fired at the moment, but I really doubt I'm in line for Employee of the Month either. And my one major saving grace right now is the simple fact that, well, I'm new. Yesterday and today were particularly bad in that regard. Yesterday, for example, alright, let's start from the beginning. The training videos, which I actually did pay attention to. Hold on a minute. I'm gonna look at my volume. There we go. The training videos, which I did pay attention to, are, and I should have thought of this sooner, but I didn't, and it hurt. But the training videos are very generic. They are not for any particular job, you know. I mean, it works for cashiers, it works for me, it works for, you know, garden people, security people, etc. So, for example, they don't necessarily speak to me in particular. And one of those things in the video basically says, hey, don't just be sitting behind the counter waiting for a customer to come to you. Go and ask the customer if they need anything. And don't just point them somewhere, take them there, right? So this led to, during times when I was on the floor, I would, you know, I'd see customers in my aisle, whether I was zoning or stocking, and say, hi, are you finding everything okay, etc. You know, can I help you with anything? Do you need any help? All the helpful stuff I was taught by the video. And for the first couple days, this wasn't a big deal until yesterday. And by yesterday, I mean Monday, not Tuesday, because right now it's literally like midnight and a couple minutes. So it's, to me, it's still very much Tuesday. But anyway, what we're looking at here is I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, yeah, it's not that big a deal, you know, it's part of my job. So yesterday comes around, as, you know, Mondays and such tend to do. If you wait long enough, you'll get another one. And I'm assigned the baking aisle to stock. Now, I like the baking aisle. It's an aisle I'm familiar with. I had, I want to say, 2 carts and a pallet. Shouldn't have taken me very long. I should have been done in a couple hours. For reference, we got to the floor, let's say, about 4 o'clock. The floor being, you know, the sales floor where the aisles and such are. You know, we got the truck done real early that day. Only took us about an hour and a half, so let's say 4:30 I got out there. Lunch is typically 6:30 to 7. I think I actually waited till about 7 to do this, to go up and get my lunch. But basically, customers kept coming in, and I kept doing the customer service thing, because I figured that was part of my job. And to an extent it is, and I'll get into that in a minute. But there were so many customers, and so many of them actually did, you know, oh, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? And I'm slowly learning the store, so I'm becoming more familiar with it, where everything is. So rather than just directing them to someone else, I take them like the video said. And as a result, 7 o'clock rolls around, and I have accomplished the loading of half of one of those 2 carts. Haven't touched the second one, and the pallet's still sitting in the hall, or the back, as it is, the aisle, the freezer section. So so I go to lunch, and I at this point I'm starting to question it. I questioned it earlier, but I'm like, no, don't stop what you're doing. You know, I really should have stopped what I was doing and asked, but so I get up there and basically say, hey, supervisor. I use his actual name, but, you know, that's doesn't really have any place in this particular story. Like, hey, supervisor, what am I supposed to prioritize, customer service or this? And I explain what happened, and he's got this look on his face like, oh my god. You know, it's a toss-up between you're the stupidest person in the world and, well, the training video did say that, so, you know, you were doing what you were told up until that point. You know, so it's a case of he doesn't even have genuine incompetence to be mad at, and I did bring it up. I'm like, hey, this doesn't seem right. I should be done. Am I supposed to ignore the customers? And he basically told me, look, if they come to you, then yes, pay attention to them. Otherwise, pretend they're not there. And don't walk them anywhere unless, you know, you don't know, and even then, hand them off as soon as possible. I'm like, okay, that's all I needed to know. So I got significantly more work done today. Oh, and by the way, I came back at about 8 o'clock from my lunch and proceeded to basically knock that aisle out with like 5 minutes to spare before 11. But I finished it, and I was in a blind panic towards the end thinking, oh god, I'm going to get fired. Which I think, being new, I don't think I could be fired for that, but oh, I would definitely be on somebody's shit list. You know? But anyway, today I had to do the cans aisle, and it's a big aisle, and big fucking aisle. And it was such a big deal that I didn't do truck today. He basically pulled me off the line for the truck like 10 minutes into loading shit and told me, okay, pull this, I want you out on the floor doing cans now. It's a big job. Start it now, you know. And this time it was much bigger. It was 4 carts and an L cart. For those who don't know, an L cart is basically a little platform on wheels with a handle that comes up, and it makes the whole thing vaguely L-shaped, you know. Well, I had one of those, which was almost entirely ramen. I didn't even need my little scanner. I just did that shit by eye. Process took me maybe 20 minutes, which is about what I expected. And got the L cart done, got all but 1 cart done by myself. And then with help, which I didn't call them, basically the policy is when you're done with your aisle, you move on to the next one and help them with theirs, you know. One of my first actual work nights involved 8 people in the chemicals aisle, which is like, you know, laundry detergent and shit like that. Because that was the last aisle left. And then we clocked out, you know. But I could have finished the aisle. I could have. But we had to do some stupid attendance program today, and the last 20 minutes I was pulled away and had to do that shit. So that kind of boned me. And I told him, dude, I'm sorry, I fucked up, etc. And he's like, it's okay. And I don't know if he means it's okay like, it's not okay, but I'm going to tell you this so you don't fucking panic. Or you're going to get a write-up or what. Or if it's literally a case of, okay, this is the hardest aisle and it was your first crack at it and you did pretty good, all things considered. You know. Because according to him, it's a 4-hour aisle, so I should have been done before I broke for lunch. And I probably should have. But I'm still learning. I got a significant amount finished. I'm not gonna not gonna lie, I got a lot done by myself. And there was only a little bit left on the cart when I did have to go. And as I proved to myself Sunday, I can get just a surprising amount of shit done in 20 minutes. So I may not have, set a new record for that aisle, but I damn sure would have had it done if not for that stupid attendance thing. Which basically, we have a new attendance policy at Walmart, and according to him, we were supposed to have watched these earlier, he just forgot. So he's like, I gotta show them to you now or it's my ass. I'm like, okay, man. But all things considered, as long as I don't get fired, I'm good. I actually really enjoy my job. And while I'd rather not have to do the truck shit, I don't mind doing the truck shit. I do enjoy it. I'll bitch up a storm while I'm doing it, but then I take my 15 minutes and I'm good. You know what I mean? Just kind of the policy I have. To an extent, I like zoning. It depends on the aisle. The alcohol/chips aisle sucks dick, and I hate it. I hate it so much. Nothing good about it. It's a horrible aisle. Everything about that aisle sucks. Because, and for those who don't know what zoning is when I go through the aisle and tidy it up and make it look presentable. I pull all the shit forward a little bit so that customers can reach it. I straighten stuff up if I have the time, and if I know where it goes, I put shit where it belongs. Basically, zoners are the reason that stores don't look like shit every time you step in an aisle. Because believe me, customers make a fucking mess. And if you don't believe me, walk into the toothpaste aisle. I had to do that the other day, and it just, oh my god, toothbrushes everywhere. I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my god, what do the people do in this fucking aisle, Not to mention the pet aisle, just leashes and harnesses everywhere. Just no rhyme or reason, nothing. Just fucking havoc and carnage as far as the eye can fucking see. It's just, ugh. But yeah, the reason this aisle sucks is when I'm zoning bottles, this is like wine and champagne and shit, which I know it's not super expensive. It's not like there's $100 bottles of champagne in there. But, one moment. But anyway, it's not like there's $100 bottles and shit in there, but if I break it, it's my ass. And every time I pull them forward, I feel like it's going to break. Meanwhile, chips don't arrange. They just don't. They don't work right. They're fucking broken, really. Basically, when you try and sit chips up, they're like, yeah, fuck you, buddy, and they lay down. Apparently the other roommate's asleep, which is what I figured the complaint would be. Oh, god damn it, not this again. But apparently my the taxes taken out of my check aren't as big as I thought they would be. Because originally I have this app called Even, which helps track like when I'm paid, what hours I put in. And more importantly, it also helps me track what I'm spending. Like I can say, oh, on this day I owe this much money, on this day I owe this much money, on this day I get this much money. Wow, that's a loud-ass TV. about to say, Jesus Christ, man, he yelled at me for making too much noise and then cranks that TV so loud the neighbors can hear it. But no, what was I gonna say? But yeah, it's like, okay, here's the day I get paid. I've got this going on. I've got this going on. It tells me, okay, you're clear to spend this much money beforehand. This rations out to like this much money per day, kind of thing. So it's incredibly useful. It will help me keep myself financially stable. It will help me figure out what I owe, when I owe it, what's mine to spend. Which I'm doing that now with a word processor, and once upon a time I used a spreadsheet that I lost because that computer crashed. But there's only so much you can do with it, and then there's manually updating it, and then there's checking and rechecking, and sometimes I miss shit. Well, this app doesn't tend to miss shit. And Maya, get out from under that fucking desk. She's going under the desk again. She's not allowed under there because she fucking stinks it up. And the fucking dog fumes just waft up to me. And it's kind of horrible. But yeah, it's just... But anyway, originally the Even app had been showing what my money was. And it had, adjusted for taxes, and it looked like we were losing 30% out of each day's pay. Which, I don't know if that's a big number, a small number, whatever. And I budgeted, and basically, if I was working 32 hours, which I more or less was, then I can survive. It's basically like maybe $10 shy of what I'm making right now, with help from mom and food stamps and Social Security and all that shit. So it's pretty much in the ballpark of what I'm already making. Might just be a little less well fed is all. Meanwhile, if we get the alleged raise that's supposed to kick in March, or I go up to 40 hours a week, which to an extent is already scheduled for me, But either way, if one or both of those happen, I'm financially set. Well, as of today, the price is updated. And instead of losing 30% out of each day's check, I've basically figured the math down to something like 12.5%. Which means I have a significantly higher amount of my money than I did before. So whether or not I get 40 hours, whether or not I get that raise, I'm golden. So yeah. Thursday, which is my payday tomorrow, is my first day off in a while. It's also when I get paid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head up and do a couple things at the bank. And I'm going to arrange some savings accounts. The plan is 2 or 3 of them. Basically, I want to have one for my Christmas fund. Because that's the thing I just absolutely want to have. It's just, hey, this is saving for my Christmas money kind of thing. And I want a second savings account for me, for big things. Like, hey, I want to save this money so that I can, go on a trip, or get a new bed, or get whatever I need, And the potential third one is all about is me wanting to set up something akin to a retirement fund, where it's just something that, except under the most dire circumstances, I won't fuck with, Basically, money that'll go into there out of each paycheck that I won't touch. I'll basically forget about it unless something huge comes up, And an example of that would be like, oh, worst case scenario, I have to move, you know. Rather than fucking around with an apartment, I might be able to get a down payment on a house or get an actual full-on house. If this happens, say, 15, 20 years from now. That kind of a thing. But, yeah. It'd just be nice to be able to have some money set aside for emergencies, for fun shit, you know. Just get to a nice comfy point where I have a situation where like, oh no, my bike broke. Let me just dip into the savings account and replace it immediately. You know, like today. Kind of like back when I had the credit card, but this time exclusively for emergencies, you know. Because originally that's what it was. Well, the problem was, after a while, everything was an emergency because of the whole move and the fact that I basically had to fund the entire goddamn thing off my card. You know, I had to get our initial food off the credit card, I had to do groceries off the credit card, you know, house supplies off the credit card, had to pay U-Haul off the credit card, etc. Whereas I had, you know, the PayPal card and the Amazon card were just for funsy shit. But the actual credit card was supposed to be for important shit and emergencies. And when you move, you rack up $1,000 of petty cash immediately. Because that's what it was. It was just, oh, this is for emergencies, or in the case of the move, it's just minor shit that we need, like, oh, we need soap. We have no toilet paper, that kind of a thing. You know? Like, hey, we could use some bacon tongs because my niece's ex-girlfriend threw ours out. Several times. I really hope that I never meet that bitch again and that she doesn't have the balls to try to talk to me. Because apparently my aunt ran into her and she had the balls to talk to her like they were friends. And the only reason she got away with it at all is because my aunt didn't recognize her until after she left. But basically, this woman kept trying to scrap a bunch of our metal shit, you know, and kept going on cleaning sprees where she fucked with our shit as though it belonged to her. Well, we had some bacon tongs that weren't in the best shape, but they were what we had. And she threw them out, and I discovered them because I saw them at the top of the trash can. I pulled them out, brought them to her room, showed them to her, and said, these are ours, do not throw them out, we are keeping these, you have no say in the matter. And she said, okay. And then, of course, fucking 2 days later, back in the trash. You know, and I'm sorry, fuck that lady. Fuck her, she's just a horrible person. She's just garbage. She stole a bunch of shit from us. She scrapped a bunch of shit of ours without real permission. You know? Basically, she acted like she had permission, and I assumed that she did. Because I try to assume the best in people. I'm like, oh, she wouldn't just fucking move into our house and then fucking rob us. Guess I was wrong. But, oh my god, she was really fucking entitled for someone who did not fucking pull her weight that much. She threw her weight far more than she pulled it. But my personal favorite was she kept trying to bleach the litter box, and I kept telling her, don't do that. And she's like, well, he's not using his litter box. I'm like, he's not using it because you keep fucking bleaching it and the smell's scaring him off. It's like, well, how am I supposed to clean it? I'm like, soap and water like a normal person, you know? And I kept telling her over and over again, that is mine. Do not fucking put bleach in it. And of course, the next day, she'd fucking bleach the litter box. And I had other reasons for telling her not to fucking bleach it. And I'm talking like once a week she was bleaching that shit. At least, if not more. And I kept telling her, stop fucking doing that, because I can't afford to keep putting litter in it every time you go on a fucking bleach frenzy. you know? Because remember, Kisa was diabetic at this point, and his litter needs were pretty extensive already. I mean, I had to buy like 70 pounds of litter a month just to keep up with him. And she just kept fucking spending our money, basically, with that shit. And it pissed me off. As it should. Because it's not her fucking shit. And she's treating it like it is. She had no fucking respect for other people's belongings. And that is one of the things that will piss me off faster than just about anything else, is when you don't respect my stuff. Matter of fact, most of the times in school when I got into a fight, it was over people touching my stuff. That is the fastest way to physically provoke me. Because, I mean, I'll take teasing all goddamn day. You fuck with my shit, and I start fighting back. I mean, there's record of this, because we had this, yeah, I learned how to turn them back off. Yeah, we had this kid in PE once. I had my backpack on, we were walking back into the actual school, and he'd been fucking with me, you know, he was tagging at my backpack and that kind of shit. And then motherfucker. And then I felt him basically going into my backpack, fishing around in it, and grabbing my book out. And that's when I fucking turned around and decked his ass. Because you don't fuck with my shit. You know? I took teasing from him for months without much reaction. And then he found out what it took to physically provoke me. And I got him punched in the goddamn mouth. There we freaking go. Now I can see. But yeah, this woman just wouldn't fucking learn. And I gotta say, one of the nice side effects of this is that for the first time in a long time, I have money and I'm well fed. You know, I can actually make stupid impulse buys without being in a blind panic, because I basically got an app saying, hey, you're covered, you know. Like, there's also the fact, like, oh, I wish I could have, you know, a stuffed crust pizza. Well, I do that and I go and get a stuffed crust pizza because I can afford it now. And this is just my half-assed orientation check. This isn't even a real money check, you know. This is the check where I worked 32 hours for the whole pay cycle, when my norm is going to be 32 hours a week, and I get paid every 2 weeks. Well, it can't spill now. That's a thing. Might as well take the fucking thing with me. But yeah, the job itself I do like. And I hope that I get to stay there long term. You know, I could be very happy, you know, being here for 20, 30 fucking years, just pulling whatever I pull. But, I mean, my only real concern is having the money to afford living, you know? as long as I can afford to keep doing everything I do, we're golden, you know? And right now, as it stands, Walmart is paying me enough that I can, in fact, do that. That not only can I afford to keep doing all the things I need to do, I can also afford the luxuries that allow me to do what I want to do. And that's a really big deal for me. And it kind of matters. You know, I like just the fact that I can do stupid shit sometimes. You know, like I'm gonna, in the next couple months, I'm going to at least allocate the money. I can't say that I'm going to get the thing yet, and I'll get into why in a minute, but I will have a PS4 of my own. I will likely have a Nintendo Switch, and if all goes well, I will have a capture card for the 3DS, likely with a new 3DS attached. So, I mean, right now I can't say for surezies, I can't be specific on that. Because there are factors, like I have to get a 3DS, I have to find someone who will do the capture card process for me, you know. And if that happens, then I have to, you know, allocate my days off in such a way that I can record shit. But that's the thing I'm doing. I'm leaning towards, you know, I do not know what the mechanics of getting one, but I plan to have a capture card for my Switch when I finally get the system. There is, I forget what they specifically mentioned, but they're like, oh, this is one that's pretty good, supposedly. And it's external, so I'll use it for a lot of things, possibly. Might work for the PS4, might work for a couple other things as well. You know. But it is something that I look forward to having. So yeah, the capture card will be nice, the PS4 of my very own will be nice, won't have to share it, won't have to time share it, won't have to do any of the things that I have to do right now. Oh, just fuck me right in the ass, why don't ya? But I can have my own games. I don't have to share them with the roommates' games. Like right now, he's got a bunch of hockey games and soccer games and shit that are on there taking up space, which they're not taking up too much space, but I never know which ones he's playing actively, so I can't erase any of them without worrying about taking away something he's actually using. You know what I mean? Whereas on my PlayStation 4, that won't be the case. And I don't have to budget my time so that, oh, the roommate's home and he's awake and he's playing hockey or he's playing GTA 4 or whatever. No, it's just, hey, I'm home, I'm conscious, I want to play some Subnautica or something. Or I want to play 7 Days, or I want to play Shantae, or something along those lines. I just can at that point. And that's fucking cool. And as for the Switch is not a huge priority. It will be budgeted for, I will have one. But I don't really want one. Like, I'm hard-pressed to find any games on the Switch I actively want that I couldn't get as easily, if not better, on another system. It's basically summed up to, well, I could get Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee, and Pikachu, but then I remember I don't really care about either of those games, you know? I mean, if you like them, that's all you. I'm not gonna tell you otherwise. I'm not gonna say, well, that's not Pokemon. What I'll say instead is that's not the Pokemon I like. You know? Because, I mean, a lot of my friends play it, like, Henri plays it, a couple others. You know? I think Star plays it a lot. But I just don't care. Plus, I'm reasonably sure the mechanics of it are vastly different from what I've spent the past decade learning, you know? So it's just kind of one of those things. It's like, I could learn this, but it involves throwing away everything I've learned up until this point. Like, the braining mechanics are different, the fucking battle mechanics are different. It's just... Plus, it's not compatible with any of my Pokemon. So, I've put all this effort into making these particular Pokemon, and I can't use any of them. I just gotta catch new shit. And that just doesn't appeal to me. I mean, odds are, if I get a Switch, I'll probably get at least one, if not both of the games, just because. But I'm not psyched about it. It's not something that I'm laying awake at night thinking, oh, I'm gonna own this game. And for the record, there are a couple games that do elicit that response from me. Like the idea that once I have a 3DS capture card, I will have Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. Nice. Like, I'll be able to do Gates of Infinity and Super Mystery Dungeon and whatever else they come out with. That excites me. Bravely Second, that excites me. Which I could play that at any time I want to. I just want to wait. Just like with those other games, I want to wait until I have the means to record it, to play it. Because, you know, that's how I do. Actually, with Bravely Second, I should just, you know, bite the bullet and buy the game. Because, you know, that's... For some reason, I've got myself convinced that that's a Let's Play blind thing, but it's really not. You know? Now, the Mystery Dungeon games, those are blind, because I have a very long history of blinding those. And it's one I'm not too eager to see brought to an end, you know. There are traditions in a Kyrix Mystery Dungeon Let's Play. You know, Tradition 1, I'm going to do it blind. Tradition 2, I'm a Pikachu. Tradition 3, Grass-type partner. You know, those are pretty much the traditions that have been set. Which means when I do Gates of Infinity, it's going to be Pikachu and Snivy. When I do Super, it's going to be Pikachu and Chespin. Which is kind of a shame, because I really like Fennekin. You know, Fennekin's a cutie. You are very hard-pressed to find a cuter starter than Fennekin. It's possible. They exist. But Fennekin's definitely up there on the list. You know. But again, I have a tradition to uphold. See, I might pick up Bravely Second fairly soon, so I can just play that. Because there's a lot of shit. Because I remember now, the reason I haven't played it is because I was too broke when it came out, so I couldn't reserve it, and I just never had the money. And then I forgot about it, and then I misremembered, like, oh, well, I was going to blind that game, so I can't just grab it. No, you can totally grab it, dude. Oh, and I accidentally discovered something fun about the mop, which you'll see in just a minute. So apparently, one cleaning worth of mop will not make bloody water. Something that I will demonstrate in just a moment as I go in to clean up all this fucking blood. Alright, so now I make a mop, or I make a bucket rather. Then I use that bucket once, exactly once. And resume my cleaning. So now I need another bucket. Obviously, I'm gonna go ahead and let this thing get filthy again before I finish up. Just because, but... Don't remember whether I used that or not, but it's not important, because I have another bucket. It's a bucket, gonna dip in my mop. How did I get on the ceiling there, I wonder? Yeah, like I don't fucking know. So yeah, I don't know what I want to get on the Switch. And before anyone says like, oh, Breath of the Wild, I haven't give a shit about a Zelda game since A Link to the Past. Oh, maybe it will. Dirty up. Oh well. Yeah, A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, those were like the last Zelda games I gave half a shit about. Mario Party, or one of the Mario games, no, I pretty much swore off the entire franchise after 64. So, that's not a thing either. Smash Brothers, I'm not into fighting games, and see the above about Mario. It's just not who I am. You know, I could be that person, I'm not. So yeah, until a Gen 8 Pokemon game comes out, a real Gen 8 Pokemon game comes out, you know, like Pokemon Meat and Pokemon Salad or whatever, I don't fucking know. And you know damn well that wouldn't be the strangest thing Pokemon came out with. But yeah, once there's a new Gen 8 Pokemon game, I'm gonna need a Switch, because that's the console it's coming out on. You can damn near put money on it. When it does come out, I want to reserve it, and I want to own it. Because why not? And of course, I'll definitely want to do a Let's Play of one of them. You know, maybe even a blind Let's Play, who knows? It could totally happen. Probably wouldn't happen live, but it could happen. Alright, let's switch gears just a second. Talk about Star Trek League this week. This week I actually had Saturday off, so I was able to participate in our league event, which was the Kobayashi Maru scenario from the USS Enterprise pack. And, you know, it's actually a lot more fair than the actual Kobayashi Maru, because it can be won by the Federation. It just isn't likely to happen. I think we only ever had like 2 cases where the Federation won over the Klingons, if that many. Basically each person had to have a Klingon fleet and a Federation fleet, and a lot of times, you know, they'd play and then they'd swap, and that's actually what I did as well. And my Federation fleet of one ship got wiped out in relatively short order. The funny thing is, so did my Klingons, but I pulled a sneaky bullshit trick where I put cloaked mines next to the Kobayashi Maru's objective. And basically the cloaked mines blew the hell out of the Enterprise as it was trying to get away. Or, I'm sorry, the Defiant. It had to be a Constitution class. It didn't have to be the Enterprise. But, so yeah, even with no Klingon ships left, I still won. Although, I don't know, on a couple circumstances I'm fairly sure. I know with the Tholians, at least, that when your last Tholian ship goes away, all its webs go away. I don't know if that's the case with cloaked mines. What's the matter, Maya? I don't want to clean those walls. See, I'm actually off next Tuesday and Wednesday. Or is it Monday and Tuesday? I know I'm off Tuesday. I think I work Monday, and I think I'm off Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm gonna look because I can. But yeah, I'm scheduled to get 32 hours next week and 40 the week after, unless one of them went in like, oh, Kyrix isn't a good worker, we're gonna shut him down, you know. Which I have a friend who works at Walmart who is trying to reassure me that it's not that big a deal. The issues I'm having, not getting fired is a huge deal. But they're basically trying to tell me, no, it's okay. You're not going to get fired over this shit. But you know, paranoia reigns. Yeah, I'm off Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday. But that's a story for another day. On that note, however, I'm going to log off. I'm gonna log off, and I'm gonna, you know, hang out, just do whatever the hell it is I do. See you, everybody. Good night.